Innovation Station on a Tuesday afternoon. Kaylin, we're talking about kimchi today?
Sort of. Kimchi, but not the regular form of kimchi that you would expect. It's actually kimchi seasoning powder that made it huge globally. And I'm going to be talking about the woman who's behind this kimchi seasoning powder and how she succeeded making huge decisions in her life.
Oh, interesting. I remember... I think it was, we all know now that, Korean food has found its way into global food markets, right?
Right.
That it's not considered some sort of weird thing anymore.
Right.
It's just a thing that everybody knows is delicious and people eat. But I remember it was a few years ago. I don't remember when, but I was watching an American sitcom. And one of the characters in the sitcom made the comment, let's go grab some Korean. I've been craving kimchi. And the reaction wasn't a weird reaction in the sitcom. It was like, oh, yeah, cool, let's go.
Wow.
And I thought, we've made it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it was such a casual mention. Let's go grab some Korean and I've been craving kimchi. And I thought, this is it. This is really, really good news.
Oh, that's nice.
Right?
Kind of let's go get some tacos. But it's no, let's go get some Korean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And this powder, I'm going to give away the success already.
Okay.
But, on the internet online
the biggest
site,
retail.
yes, that site that reminds you of the rainforest.
Yeah.
Well, they were number one for a long time
Oh my
in
gosh.
the sales of different seasonings.
No
Number
way.
one.
Was the Korean kimchi powder.
Yes.
Really?
Their kimchi powder. I mean, there have been kimchi powders before, but
Oh.
then there's a reason why hers is very special.
Oh,
I'll get
interesting.
to that at the very end.
It's kind of fun, though. Number one of all the available... I mean, I don't know what kind of spices we're talking about here.
Oh, the famous Japanese shi blank blank, that one.
Oh, yeah,
You don't
the
know
kind of
the one that you put on the
peppery-
udon?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not familiar with that?
I am not. We're not talking about
chili powder
Yeah.
from Vietnam.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, all those. It totally grabbed the number one seat in
Interesting.
in a week or something.
powder.
Yeah.
In Korea...
Globally.
No, I know, but
Oh.
in Korea, is kimchi powder popular?
No. See, that's the thing. When she wanted to come up with this, or she came up with this idea and wanted to make this product, everyone was skeptical because everyone's like, why do you need kimchi powder? Just eat the real thing.
Right.
You know? Yeah, so she really needed a lot of courage to make many decisions.
Who is she? You keep saying she. Who is she?
Her name is An Tae-yang. Yeah, so her name means the sun.
Yeah.
But so she is from Korea. She lived in Korea her whole life. And then, when she went to college, she decided, hey, well, of course, she didn't have enough money. Her family wasn't well off. So this was also part of that too, the decision that she made. But she had to quit college and she was left with a decision to do what, right? So she decided to move to the Philippines with her sister.
Okay.
Her excuse was, let me go study abroad, right? Let me go and learn some English or something like that. But when she got there, she decided, hey, you know what? I'm here. Let me start a business. So she went to one of the night markets in, what's the capital? Oh, Manila.
Yeah.
She went to one of the night markets and she opened up a tteokbokki stand.
Okay.
So the first day, she made 100 portions. So full of hope that it was going to be a sellout. But then the turnout was she only sold 2 portions that day.
Yeah, because if you set up at Gangnam Station with a tteokbokki stand, you're going to sell out 100 portions in 5 minutes. But in Manila, not so popular at the first time anyway.
But the problem was all the money that she had for to pay rent and everything, she used all that money to invest in this small tteokbokki business. She had to buy the pans and everything, right? So that night, her sister came to her and said, hey, 언니, is it going to be okay? We only sold 2 portions.
Interesting.
And then the 언니 was like, don't worry about it. We're good. And then she went into the room by herself and cried the whole night.
No.
But that's only the beginning. So we'll get to that.
We'll find out where this story goes next. Today we talk about An Tae-young, you said her
Yes.
name is, the Korean kimchi powder princess. Can I refer to her with that title? Is that
the
okay?
guru?
Or the queen, maybe.
Queen, yeah.
Maybe more appropriate. We'll learn more about her story when we come back here. Super Junior House Party. the story of An Tae-young,
An Tae-young. Sorry
An Tae-young.
for that.
Yang, excuse me.
Yeah.
She is the creator of this insanely popular kimchi powder. Tell us more about the story.
Okay, so after the first day, which was a total disaster,
The tteokbokki stand in Manila.
Yes.
Yeah.
She kept on going for about 6 months. And during those 6 months, her strategy here was to greet everyone that came to the night market, say hello, put on a smile, and give them samples of tteokbokki.
That's good.
And then she kind of like changed the original tteokbokki into more of what would actually satisfy the needs of Philippine consumers, right? So she wanted to localize
Right.
the tteokbokki, right? So that's what she did. And after 6 months, before that she was in the red, but then now things turned out to be better. Now she was making profits. Up to a point where she made 7 different tteokbokki stands in Manila.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the strategy, this is what happened, I guess. People saw a tteokbokki stand and thought, I don't know what that is. I don't want to try it.
Right.
I don't want to pay for it. So she said, okay, I'll give you a little bit for free. And slowly over time, people thought, oh, actually, that's pretty good. She changed the flavor a little bit. And then people started buying it. And then she set up 6 more stands.
Yeah. So she had 7 and she was successful. But then now she came to a crossroad again where she had to make a huge decision. A Chinese company, they came and said, hey, we want to buy your tteokbokki brand. And while we do, we also want to hire you so that can you come as our marketing brand manager?
Okay.
So she said yes because she wanted to learn how the big guys do it, right? Like the food industry, the restaurant industry. So she was hired and she worked there for a couple of years. And that's where she learned about branding, business, sales, and all that. Everything that she needed to create her own company.
So what happened with the tteokbokki stand? Did they remain tteokbokki stands, or what did the Chinese company do with that?
Well, before the Chinese company bought them, she changed it into more of like a 포장마차 style.
Okay, so you could go and sit there.
Yes. So it's kind of like, you can experience the Korean culture here.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if they still exist today because this was a couple of years ago.
But she didn't mind because she was moving on to a completely different chapter,
Exactly.
right? This is really interesting.
Yeah, so now she's like, okay, now what do I make? Now she wanted to create her own brand.
Okay.
But then she realized, hey, there is nothing out there that you can create, right?
Everything already exists.
Everything already exists. So what can I do? I can find something that is really necessary. It's a necessity for people.
Yep.
But at the same time, find that niche, right?
Right.
And, she found it, and that's what made the kimchi powder.
So what gave her the idea?
She realized, hey, kimchi is famous, right? She
Yeah.
wanted to make Korean food.
What year was this, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
This was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, that when she decided to make her own business.
Okay.
And she decided, hey, kimchi is really famous. What if I make this into a powder that everyone can enjoy, but make it vegan?
Okay, so maybe she had some gochugaru or something one night, and she thought, well, if we can do this with peppers, we can make it into a powder. Why can't we make kimchi into a powder? I'm still confused about the process, but still, there's more of the story to be revealed. We'll pick it up after Irene Cara, Flashdance. What a feeling. Okay, so she sells her tteokbokki stands. A Chinese restaurant company buys her out, but they also hire her. She learns everything she needs to know, and now she thinks, what am I going to make? And she comes up with the idea for kimchi powder.
Yes. Well, because for Koreans, kimchi is like an everyday banchan.
Sure.
Right? It's part of the national diet. But a lot of foreigners, you mentioned that, kimchi now is very accessible and a lot of people know about it and stuff like that. But actually, up until like maybe a couple of years back, people knew about kimchi, but a lot of people were still skeptical of trying kimchi, right?
Maybe not skeptical, but just what do you do with it? Right?
That's true.
Because we don't really have, thinking about Canadian and American food, we don't have a dish where we have side dishes, right? Not typically.
That's
we have
true.
like rolls and butter. or something like that. But we don't have, the banchan, so to speak, or at least I don't think we do.
And I think also making kimchi is tricky. Like there's a lot of videos online where people can try and follow, but the process is kind of complicated.
Absolutely.
You got to ferment it. It's not as, you can't just kind of...
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I heard that a lot of foreigners see kimchi as kind of like a salad. More than a side dish.
I don't know.
It probably depends on where
Put some
you're
ranch
from.
dressing on it. Some croutons.
No.
I don't think, really? It's salad?
Yeah, like very spicy, kind of crunchy salad.
Yeah.
Like cabbage salad.
That's a loose connection, though. But I guess so.
Yeah, so what An Tae-yang decided to do was, hey, let me change my perspective on this famous Korean dish. So after 29 sampling processes, she came up with the kimchi seasoning that's selling right now. There were a lot of difficulties on the way because, first of all, the Korean market, like Korean people, they're like, eat the real thing.
Yeah,
like,
why do we need this?
Yeah, why do you need a seasoning? So a lot of manufacturing factories, they rejected her. But after, she was so arduous, right? So after seeing her passion, people started believing in her. Although they didn't believe in the product. So they all started helping her out.
It's interesting that the manufacturers were also like, you shouldn't be doing this. It's like, you're making me money, but you're going to lose it in the end.
Yeah.
What do you put it on?
Like pizza, jjajangmyeon. I put it on just regular rice.
Oh, you've tried it?
Yeah, I have one at home. I love it.
Is it good?
It's really, really good. And her specialty is that it's not just only vegan, but it also has probiotics in it.
Okay.
So there were a lot of kimchi seasonings before her, but then hers was the first one with actual probiotics, which is the thing that kimchi is, famous for.
Right.
Interesting. And then she put him up on Amma Blank and huge success.
Huge success, but then like our segment name, Innovation Station, she actually won an Innovation Award in 2019 with the seasonings.
Amazing.
So. And in India, the land of seasonings, right?
In India is where she won the award?
Yes.
Wow, amazing. I want to try this kimchi powder now.
I'm going to buy you one.
Please do.
Wow. Yeah, I will.
All right, we'll leave the first hour there for today. Stick around for the second to wrap up the first Shawn Mendes Something Big.